on voice and accent training. Well, let me give you a little background on why I chose to do this here today. I really feel that we come here not just to master our nerves and shaky knees and sweaty palms, but we also come here to master our minds. When it goes completely blank, we train it. And the last part of it is to master the English language. We need to have the skills that we need to portray to everybody else exactly what we're saying in a way that they can understand everything that we want to say, and also to be the best at it. And when I come to that, there are probably two parts which come into it. The first is the grammar and the language part of it, for which we have the grammarian role. So in the language part of it, all of our structural words, our grammar, our nouns, our pronouns, our everything comes in, our verbs, all of that comes in there. And there's another part of it, the part which is saying the sounds correctly. So that is what voice and accent training is about. And I'll give you an introduction to how it works and how you can possibly take it forward on your own after we leave this session. Can I have a pen? So one of the biggest problems, I'll just move this. Okay, all those How do you say that word? Read, read? Read. It could be either, right? I read the paper every day, but I read the newspaper yesterday. This is what is funny about the English language. Words that can be written the exact same way can be pronounced in two different ways. Words that are spelled in two different ways can be said the same way, like there, T-H-E-R-E and T-H-E-I-R. And a lot of the confusion comes in here. But I will not be talking about that. What I will be talking about is the mother tongue influence and the accent. So before we go on, what is an accent?
The way you pronounce a word.
The way you pronounce a word, is that it?
Tonality.
Pardon?
Tonality.
Tonality? Okay, tell me, when somebody says you have an accent, what does it mean?
Influence of the mother tongue.
Influence of the mother tongue. So everybody who speaks the language speaks with an accent. An accent is the way that you pronounce the sounds in the language. A mother tongue influence or an accent is a way of speaking that reminds you of a certain place or a certain location. So that's why you have the British accent, you have the American accent, you have the Australian accent, you have the southern drawl of the Americans, you have you have the Malayalam accent, you have the Telgite accent, you have a Bangalorean accent, you have a Chennai accent. Okay, so there are different ways that you can say the same things which will remind people of a certain place. When we talk about accent neutralization, it means removing the mother tongue influence from the accent. So to understand how to do that, let's talk about the different sounds. How many letters do we have?
26.
There's 26 letters. How many sounds do you think the English language has?
Twice as much.
Twice as much?
Infinite.
Not infinite, no, not infinite. We have a set definite number. We have 44 sounds, okay? Out of those 44 sounds, we have 24 sounds which are consonant sounds, and the other 20 are vowel sounds. So these vowel sounds are represented by your A, E, I, O, U, sometimes a Y, okay? And these sounds are the ones which may or may not exist in people's mother tongue languages. And this is the reason why people have problems with them. So for example, I'm sure you would have heard, there are some places where there's no Z in the language. So words like measure, or they don't have J. Okay, so words like measure come out as measure. Okay, and these are, okay, what happens here is that the sound which is there in the English language is not present in the mother tongue. So it is replaced by a similar sounding sound. Okay, let me write that down. Okay. Can anybody give me examples of commonly mispronounced words?
Stage.
Stage. Okay, so what do they say?
Stays.
Stays. Okay, so j is something which does not exist in a lot of languages, especially Telugu. Telugu does not have that sound in it. So instead of saying j, they say z. Okay, which is, it sounds quite similar, but is not the right sound. Is there anything else that people?
Sheetal.
People say gesture instead of gesture.
Okay, gesture instead of gesture. Okay, that is probably because of the spelling and is not so much a mother tongue influence.
Examination.
Land.
Examination.
Land.
Land.
L-A-N-D.
How do they
In
say?
Japanese, there's no R. Sorry, there's no L, so they say R instead. Rand. It becomes rand.
Rand. Okay, yes. In
L and
Japan,
R.
in Japanese, and even in Chinese, they don't have an L sound, so they don't know how to pronounce it. So when you're talking about words like land, okay, it either becomes rand or it becomes something else. I had the weirdest conversation with somebody once, a Chinese guy on the phone, and he's trying to read out an email address to me, and the first letter is L. And he's like, L. I was like, I'm sorry, I beg your pardon. L. I was like, okay, I'm sorry, I'm really not able to understand. So then we started A, B, C, D, all the way up till L. Okay? So this is what happens if there is no sound and nobody is taught how to pronounce it. These are the problems which can come up. Okay, so when you have these, okay, so you have a lot of times, there are people who can't say the F sound. So instead of saying if, it becomes ip. Okay, sometimes it's the other way. I had a college teacher who said profit for profit. And I was the Bahirath that day. He was our economics teacher. He called me on stage and he said, write the definition, he said profit. And I was like, profit. Okay, F-R-O. No, profit. I'm like, okay, maybe it's not F. Erase it, P-H-R-O. And he was like, you don't know how to spell profit? It's profit. I'm like, yeah, profit. Okay, how else do you spell this word? Okay, so these can get you in a really funny situation. I will be talking a little bit today about the way that sounds are made and how the sound actually comes out of your mouth. So you tell me, okay, what do you think is the process that is involved when you make a sound? How is a sound articulated? What do you think happens first?
The
We
breath.
breathe in and then we breathe out, okay? The first thing that happens is the breathing. In English, we always speak while we're breathing out. You never breathe in and speak the English language. Some of the other languages, which are like the Middle Eastern languages, they breathe in and that's why they have a lot of these throaty sounds. But English does not have any of that. We always speak the English when we are breathing out. So now that we're breathing out, what happens? Where does the air go?
Lungs.
It goes into your vocal cords. And what happens there?
Comes out of the wood.
It comes out of the vocal cords, but what happens while it's going through the vocal cords? If it was just passing through, nothing would happen. Vibration, exactly. So your vocal cords expand and contract, and they vibrate the air which is inside. Okay? And then the air comes up into your mouth. And then what do?
You articulate it.
You articulate it. You use your lips, your teeth, your mouth. You use all of the parts of your mouth to make the sound. And the last thing, so once you've done all of that, is it done? Is the sound ready?
Your hands too.
You need to let it out of your mouth, okay? So once the sound is let out of your mouth, that is when it actually becomes a sound. So all of this stuff, this vibration and modification is all before the sound comes out of your mouth. And after the sound comes out of your mouth, that is when it is actually a sound. So there are three parts to it, okay? The first one is vibration. Then modification and release. Okay, these are the three parts to a sound. Now, when there is a mistake in a sound, it is either because the vibration is wrong, or the modification is wrong, or the release is wrong. There can be only three reasons why a sound is not correctly sound or set. Okay, because of these three reasons. Now, in different sounds, to correct it, you would probably go down and find out which is the one. So what you can do is you can make a list of the words or the sounds that you have difficulty with, or words that you have difficulty with, and then kind of work on it later. Okay, I'll explain that to you in a bit. Okay, but before we get onto it, we have our vowel sounds and our consonant sounds. Now, our vowel sounds are the ones which have free flow of air from the inside. So your mouth and your lips and your teeth are not really getting in the way. And then we have our consonant sounds where our mouth organs are actually coming in the way and they're obstructing the flow of air. Now, a lot of times the language sounds wrong because the vowel sounds are pronounced wrongly. Another part of it is because of the consonant sounds. Now, vowel sounds are very important to the language. Let me ask you to do a small activity. You know the word fish? Okay. Remove the I from fish. F-S-H. Okay. Can you try screaming that for me? Louder. That's it? That's it? Okay, should I give you another word? Okay, flower. Okay, that's too big. Bag.
B-A-C-K?
B-A-G. Bag.
Bag.
Okay, now say it without the A. Scream. Okay, exactly. Okay, you are not able to scream any of these words. If there is no consonant sound in the language, there is no loudness to the language.
There's no vowel.
If there's no vowel sound, sorry, what did I say?
Consonant.
Sorry. If there's no vowel sound, there's no loudness to the language. So if the vowel sounds are incorrect, then the language will automatically sound incorrect to the listener. Now, vowel sounds are a lot more difficult to learn than consonant sounds, and you can go on bbc.com and learn a little bit about the right vowel sounds. Today I'll be talking about T and D sounds, okay? Mainly because of the amount of times that it's used, and I've seen it a lot in this community that our past tense and stuff is said really wrongly, and a lot of the reason is for the T and D sounds. So let's get started with the simple T sound. Where do you think your tongue touches when you say the T sound?
Behind the upper teeth.
Top.
Behind the upper teeth? Say T. Okay. See?
Did I do?
See? No. Okay. This is one of the biggest problems that Indians have with the T sound and the T sound. Is what actually the sound sounds like in English. It's a very soft sound. In India, we have D and D. It sounds a lot harsher. And the reason, now I want you to try it. D. What happens? Where is your tongue when you say T? It's just right behind your teeth.
Front teeth.
Okay? Just behind your front teeth, your upper teeth. Okay? Just behind. And if you have to say T,
You twist your tongue.
what happens? You twist your tongue rolls a lot further back, okay? This is the D and T, D, D, okay? This is the main problem, okay? With T and D. If you have to do D and D, D, D,
You could practice the word first.
first,
First. Some people say first,
first,
right turn,
right,
left turn,
left
straight
turn.
turn.
Okay,
No,
this
I
is
call it
actually
the
adding an up
order and
after
English.
that. Yeah. Okay, so what you have to do if you have this issue, okay, is just remember where your tongue is positioned, and when you're practicing any sound, you need to practice that sound in isolation, which means say T 100 times. Say T 100 times, and once you've gotten it perfect, you can move on to doing like how we have ka, ka, ki, ki. You can do ta, ta, ti, ti with our vowel sounds in toe. Okay, that's the second thing, and then the third thing is to go ahead with your words and T in the beginning, T in the middle, T in the end, and we have do. Now you tell me, where do you think these two sounds come into play the most, and it makes the biggest difference when we listen? Tenses, exactly, in past tense, okay? That's why we have, bumped my foot. Okay? And we have all these funny things which we hear. Okay? It's mainly because of the wrong pronunciation of the T and the D sound. Can somebody give me some words that we can get, some regular verbs which are converted into past tense by adding an ed?
Save and save.
Jump.
Saved. Walk.
Okay,
Jump.
let's see. Jump.
Walk. Walk. Walk.
Okay, walk.
Talk.
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 Then pass.
Dive.
Pass.
Dive.
Okay. Oh, chef. I think this should be enough to explain.
Is it W?
Huh?
I thought it's show. Is it your W?
We can do show as well. But I think shove is a better example for me, okay? So let's keep it as shove, okay? Shove would become shoved. Okay, now let's take the first word, bump. Okay? Tell me how you would convert it into past tense.
Bumped.
Bumped. Okay. Let's see bomb.
Bomb.
Bombed. Okay, can you hear the difference in the ending between bumped and bombed?
Yeah.
Bumped,
Bomb.
bombed. Okay? If you see the bump, the ed ending takes on a T sound. Bumped. Bumped. Okay? But the ed ending for bomb will be bombed. Okay? There are three actually sounds, okay, that an ed ending can take on. So the first is T. The second is D. Okay? And the last is id. So give me a word that ends with a T or a D. Skirt. Skirted. He skirted around the topic. Okay? Skirted. Okay, so that's the last one. So you have three different pronunciations for the ed ending. Now the first T will be with all of your voiceless sounds. Okay, I'll give you a list. I'll send out a list to everybody here. Okay, so you'll know which are the words. Okay, sounds like jumped. Okay, it will never be jumped. This is where people go wrong. Okay, it is very difficult to say jumped or bumped, talked. Okay, this is where the accent comes in. This is where the mother tongue influence comes in. Okay, so you have pass. What will that be? Passed or passed? Passed. Okay, then you have talk. Talked. Okay, any other verbs that you can think of? Intimidate. Intimidated. Okay, because if it ends in a vowel sound, then it will always have a d sound ending. D. Okay, intimidate, intimidated. Okay, anything else? No? Okay, so I will send out these lists, and this is how you kind of perfect the ed endings. When I work with my clients, what I do is I take a huge list out of verbs, a printout of regular verbs, and I make them practice. And then we kind of separate, and this is the logic behind it. So if you have any issues with this, you can always get back to me, or you can practice on your own, and you can check it out on bbc.com, and I think it should be able to help. Does anybody have any questions?
My students, I teach them, I had great difficulty teaching them station. They like to say station.
Tation.
They prefer to say station.
Tation.
They to put the S and T together is difficult for them.
It is, yes.
Okay, and even to end the T and S together is difficult for them.
Oh, yeah. See, these are consonant blends, okay? You would have to work with them on getting the sounds. You place them a little further apart and go
No, I'm working
and
it out.
kind of work it out with
I'm
them.
working it out with
Yeah.
them.
So
I'm working it
consonant
out with
blends
them.
are a little difficult.
It's working, but I found these S and T
Like-
is difficult for them, and T and S
T and S.
is possible.
Okay, yeah. There are different people that have different issues with different stuff, but the easiest way to solve any consonant blend problems is to start with one consonant, ends with the other. Even ask, sk. Lots of people have a problem
Asks.
with asks. Okay,
That's very
it becomes
difficult.
acts.
Asks.
Okay, so these are things that if you have, or if you know anybody that has a problem, you get them to do one vowel sound and then the other vowel sound, and then kind of get them to go faster and faster until it blends together.
The students themselves solve this problem. Station. I make one teach the other. So this girl taught the girl to say stay. She could say stay. Then say shun.
Yeah,
Join.
it happens, yeah. Like I had a client that couldn't say paper. He would say paper. And I was like, it's not paper, it's paper. And he could say paper use, but he couldn't say paper. So I just divided that word for him. So there are lots of techniques that you can use. Anybody else have any questions about ED endings or anything? No? Okay, fine, thank you.